Hey guys, it's Purple Ferret here. So this is the day before this video is going up. I completely got sidetracked doing other things, just not drawing digitally and recording it. So, I didn't have a video ready this week or for the next one either. So, I drew this pretty fast. It took me about 2 hours, I think, a little bit more. And some of my other things have taken around 5, sometimes 7. The last thing I drew before this was 7. It was not something I recorded for YouTube though. It was a commission. Anyway, this is actually another redraw of some older art of mine. It's not quite as old as the last redraw I did. The last one was from when I was in high school. This one is just from 2023, I believe. Specifically August, September, so around the end of the year. So not quite 3 years old yet, but it's getting there. Both of these characters are technically that old in terms of how long they've existed, except Claude I technically designed whenever I was in high school. I don't remember exactly when because I didn't give him any level of story, so he didn't really exist until 2023 because that's when he got incorporated into this story. The reason I chose to redraw this one is because this is a very important moment in their story. It's not it's at the beginning of the story, but it's also kind of a big spoiler. It's a little bit of a spoiler. There is a bit of a reveal going on here. Honestly, this scene is just meant to establish who they are as people. Just a little bit of a spoiler. Neither of them are really good people. They're both like the protagonists of the story, but they're not really good people. You're rooting for them because there are worse people, not because they're good people. In terms of story, I'm gonna try and explain it the way. So I'm gonna tell you the story up until this point in the story, and I'm going to try and present it the way that I see it in my head being presented, the way I would want this story told in some sort of visual medium. So, the way the story begins, Claude is just kind of brooding in the dark in an underground facility, and in slides through a vent, this little girl named Anna. Her full name's Annalise, but literally no one calls her that except her father. Anna has ended up underground, and she tells him that she needs to get back up to where her father is because this is like the underground facility part of a factory. It's meant to be like a secret area that no one knows about. And she's like, "Oh no, my dad's gonna be so mad. He told me I'm not supposed to go playing around here and I need to get back to him." And Claude is like, "Don't worry, little girl, I'll help you." Now, this sounds really benevolent and kind of him, but it's at this point in the story you would get his internal monologue of him knowing, because I didn't say it just then, but the man that created him is, she directly states, is her father. He doesn't think she necessarily knows that her father made him, but she mentions that her father owns the factory. So Claude, in his internal monologue, is thinking about how it starts off kind of sweet with him thinking about how innocent she is and stuff, and it shifts from that innocence being cute to that innocence being really naive, that she would choose to trust him, basically being all like, she has the audacity to trust me after her father abandoned me here for 20 plus years. I haven't decided the exact number. Claude is like a very big fan of sins of the father or the sins of the son type deal, except in this case it's daughter. Needless to say, Claude has ulterior motives for helping her, clearly, because he's going, "She's so stupid to trust me." And this ulterior motive involves Anna not making it to adulthood. So right off the bat, Claude, not a good guy. He knows that hurting her would be morally wrong, but he's very focused on getting revenge on her father. So he's like, I can get revenge on him for abandoning me if I just kill his daughter. And throughout the facility, they're on the exact opposite end of the facility from both the elevator and the radio that they're supposedly going to use to contact her father. So they have a long trek ahead of them. And there are several other robots between where they are and where they need to go. Some of them even try to kill Anna before he has the chance to. So ironically, he's defending her from the other robots. I wouldn't exactly call them androids because most of them are not humanoid, and the ones that are humanoid are incomplete. He is the only complete android there. So he is wholeheartedly set on being the one to kill her and specifically have her body displayed in an area that her father can realistically get to very easily. So he is all like, it's easier if she can walk there on her own, so I'll escort her there and then I'll kill her. So I'm gonna leave a bunch of details out because one, some of them aren't nailed down yet, and two, there's not enough time for me to get into the whole facility that they travel through in this video. So we get to the end where Claude is very much, he's had doubts at points about killing her, but then he pushes down any sort of feelings he has about not killing her, knowing that he's never going to get another chance like this. So he goes to kill her. Doesn't really matter how, because this happens. What's been on screen this whole time. She had her back turned, and then she catches him by the throat and holds him up in the air. And, you know, that's kind of impossible for a little girl to do. And her arm is unnaturally long. And this is where, ideally, the audience and Claude would find out that she is not, in fact, a human child. Now, Anna, while she does not look anything like Claude, is also an android and made by the same guy, her father. But the key distinction is she was made so that she can physically look like she's growing up over time, so that he could pretend he had a daughter, basically. And she is technically fully grown by the point in this story, because it's been about 20 years since Claude last saw the inventor, and he's been raising her as his daughter for that time. So he's an old man at this point. Claude doesn't really grasp how old he is because he doesn't quite understand humans entirely at this point. So he doesn't know that this man is too old to be having children at this point and that his daughter would be grown up if he had one. And he does have one. He didn't pretend like she was biological, though. He pretended he adopted a child because he had no wife in the picture. Basically, Claude is flabbergasted. So Claude is completely flabbergasted, bamboozled, hoodwinked, and doesn't know exactly what to do about the situation because she has abilities that he does not, evidenced by her arms stretching an unnaturally long distance to separate him from her. And it's at this point that she tells him why she came down here in the first place. It wasn't a, oops, I'm a clumsy child and I was exploring in some vents and I fell down. It was she intentionally came down here. She doesn't explain exactly to him, but I'll tell you what the deal was. She tells him that she wanted to upset her father. The reason is because she found out that the robotics company that he owns, he is leaving to another person in the company instead of her, which makes a little bit of sense in terms of she wasn't involved with the company, but she thought she was going to inherit it. So she thought well, I'm the most advanced thing he's ever made, so clearly I'm the most qualified because I know how I work. But clearly not in her father's eyes. And it basically boiled down to, well, you're not human and you're not going to age past the age you are pretending to be. And like, technically, she is in her mid 20s in terms of like the age she is, but she was also technically made as a child that was at least 5. So she's like, so if she was 25, for example, she would be only 20. So like you subtract some age. Anyway, complicated. Basically she just came down as like a form of rebellion because she knew he wouldn't want her down there. So she chose to go down there just to upset him. And it's at this point that she takes half of Claude's face off so that she has a physical souvenir to prove she was down there, instead of going, I went down there, and him be like, I know you're just trying to get a rise out of me. Or be like, no, I actually went down there. It's also here where I'm going to stop on the story for now. This is all that was relevant to the speed draw, and it's also just a good stopping point because this is where some more stuff happens, but I would like to dedicate a speed draw to those events. It is also now midnight while I'm recording the voiceover the night before, so I would very much like to go to bed. So even if I wanted to tell you more, I would still be stopping here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Here's the reveal of before and after the sketch phase. I really like the sketch, but I would really like to go to bed now, so I'm not going to ramble too long. I intentionally made the flipping back and forth very short this time for that reason. Good night, and bye!